Good afternoon. This is Regina Ward from Queen of Excellence Oils, and today I'm going to be demonstrating how you make a goat milk melt and pour soap with tea tree essential oil. And I'm going to be adding a few dried peppermint leaves to it as well. So the brand of goat milk that I'm going to be using today is Valona. And then I'm going to be using Guru Nanda tea tree oil. So this is a pretty high quality oil. And I use it quite often. But I measure out everything because this is a scientific process. And so I've already measured out 0.56 ounces of tea tree oil, and that's according to the International Fragrance Association. Also, I have alcohol here, and then I'm going to be using some green food coloring to give the soap a green color. And I'm going to be making 2 pounds of soap today. And here I have my molds already available and ready to go. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut up the soap, and then I'm going to measure out 2 pounds. So I use a scale to be accurate and to weigh out all of my ingredients. And of course you want to balance your scale out and make sure it's zeroed. So this is about 1 pound, 15.7 ounces. So let me just cut off a little bit more to get up to my 2 pounds. Okay, so that's 2 pounds there. And so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the soap up into smaller pieces, because what I'm gonna do is melt this in the microwave, and you want to melt it in 30-second increments so that you don't burn the soap. And so it's better if you just cut it up into small size cubes, and that way it melts quicker and more effectively. So I'm just gonna dice 2 pounds of soap into smaller cubes. And goat milk soap is very moisturizing. The lactic acid in the goat milk soap just helps with cell turnover. Your skin cell turnover, so it will help to get rid of dead skin and just help your skin to look younger and more youthful. And it's very moisturizing, and the soap also lathers very well. So I'm just gonna continue to cut this up into small cubes. And so I already have a plastic container here that I'm going to melt my soap in once I get it all cubed up. So I'm just going to place it in my container. And you can use a plastic container or glass container, but you want to make sure that the glass is microwavable, because if not, it can explode on you. And I actually had that happen to me once. I had a bowl to explode after I heated it in the microwave. I had soap in it and the glass shattered. It was pretty thick, and a piece of the glass ended up in my foot, and it cut me pretty deep. And I still have the scar today. So when you're making soap, you know, it's just a lot of safety guidelines that you have to follow, and just, you know, be safe. There are two other kind of soaps that you can make, but it requires that you use lye. So one is hot processed soap and the other is cold processed soap. So with hot processed soap, usually you can use it right away, but when you make cold processed soap, it has the cure for 4 to 6 weeks. And then, as I mentioned today, I'm making a melt and pour. So that's the third option for making soap. And this is a good craft to do with children too. Some people use fragrance oils in their soap, and sometimes I do, but I prefer to use natural, organic ingredients in my soaps. So most of the ingredients are edible, except for the soap itself. So if it's good enough to eat, then it's good enough to use on your body. And it looks like I'm gonna need a second container, because this one is quite full. I think I'm pretty happy with the size of these cubes. I think they'll melt pretty well. And then I have a stirrer here. And then I also have a thermometer, a laser thermometer. So I'm gonna use this to measure the temperature of my soap. And usually the soap can get pretty hot. It can get up to like 200 degrees Fahrenheit. But usually I typically don't pour it into the mold until it cools off to about 120 degrees. And then the alcohol I'll spray into the mold, and that just prevents the soap from sticking to the mold, and then it also helps to alleviate air bubbles in the soap. And then I'll probably just add like a tablespoon of the dried peppermint leaves. So let me just grab another container for my soap. Okay, I'm back with that second container. So I'm just gonna place all of the soap into the container. It's probably about a pound in each one of these, pound of soap. So what I'm gonna do now is put these in the microwave, and I'm going to melt them, and then I'll come right back. Okay, I just want to show you what the soap looks like so far. So I've heated it for about a total of 2 minutes, and as you can see, it's not fully melted yet. You can see it's kind of bubbles in there, so I'll use the alcohol. You could use like 75% or 90% alcohol to spray on it to get those air bubbles out. So yeah, I'm just gonna stir it to help it melt more evenly. And I think it's probably gonna take maybe another minute to a minute and a half to melt completely. But you want to remember to just heat it in 30-second bursts, because you don't want the milk in the soap to burn. Okay, so I'm gonna pop these back in the microwave. Okay, so I heated the soap for about another 2 minutes, so I think it was a total of about 5 minutes. Depending on the type of soap, each one of them have their own melting point. I could still kind of feel little chunks in here, so I'm just gonna stir it up until it all mixes and melts well. Prior to putting it in the microwave again, the soap was about 123 degrees. I'm just gonna even these out a little bit because I have more in one than the other. So to me it feels like it's melted completely now. So that's how it looks. And then I'm going to just measure the temperature. It's about 153 degrees. This one a little cooler. About 153. So what I'm gonna do next is to go ahead and just add in the peppermint. Peppermint leaves. So this is about 1 tablespoon. So I'm gonna put like half tablespoon in each one of these. And then I'm gonna stir it to mix it in. And I'm giving the soap time to cool off because you don't want to add the essential oil into the soap when it's too hot, because it'll vaporize out. So I'll be adding the tea tree oil in last. And now what I'm gonna do is just add in some of the green food coloring to give it a green color. I think I'm almost out of this one. Just want to get enough in there to give it some color. Light green is fine. Yeah, it's a pretty color. See? It's like magic. I love to make soap because it's an art and a science. And It'll allow you to use your creative juices. So I've made over 50 kinds of soap. And you could check my website out to look at my collection and order you some. And I have videos on my on Facebook as well, just showing how to make cold processed soap. So I've made cold and hot processed soap, which requires that you use lye, which is very dangerous. It's a poison, and it heats up to over 200 degrees, so you really have to be cautious. So I'm just stirring my ingredients really well. I just want to see if I can add a little more color to this one. Okay, that's the end of that. Okay, let me see what temperature we at now. Okay, it's still about 150 degrees. And this one is cooling down a little more. It's about 149 to 150. So I'm just stirring it to mix the peppermint leaves in really well. The ring of the food color fell off in there. Okay. So what I want to do is just mix these in to one container. Making sure everything is mixed really well, because I'm a perfectionist, so I gotta make sure everything is right. Okay, we're down to about 140 degrees now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add in my tea tree oil, which I pre-measured, and I weigh it out. So it's almost always more accurate to weigh out your ingredients instead of using a measuring cup. It smells so good and cleansing. So what I'm gonna do is spread these molds down now, because I'm about to pour the soap. So we'll see how much 2 pounds make. I'm making this order for a very special customer. Okay. So I'm gonna get ready to pour this. It's about 136 degrees, so I'm good with that. So let's pour this into my first mold. Tea tree oil smells so good. I'll fill those last with whatever is left over. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this mold will make like 4-ounce bars of soap. pouring them into the mold. And you can see they got air bubbles. So what I'm gonna do is just spray it, and that breaks the surface tension and gets rid of those air bubbles. I want to fill these now. Sometimes I overfill my molds because I want to make sure people get the most for their money. And the melt and pour soap is the quickest and easiest to make. So I think that's good enough. Yeah, I'm gonna get quite a few bars. Just spray these. Grab one more small mold. Okay, got one more small mold. And if your soap starts to harden on you, you can remelt it. But I try not to have to remelt it. So I think this batch is working out perfectly. Smells so good. You can see it's starting to thicken up, but that's okay. So, yeah, this is the final product. Spread it a little more. And then what I'll do is, it's probably gonna take about 3 or 4 hours for it to harden completely. And then I'll come back and show you all what it looks like when I remove it from the mold. But I also wanted to share some of the therapeutic properties of tea tree oil. So they've done like 70 years of medical research, and it shows that tea tree oil, it's also called melaleuca, but it kills many different strains of bacteria, viruses, and fungi. And so some of the common uses are to treat acne. It helps with dandruff. You could use it as a disinfectant to disinfect your home. It helps with psoriasis and eczema. It could help remedy toenail fungus and ringworms, and it acts as a natural deodorant. And it also can be used to clean infections and cuts. So tea tree oil has a lot of therapeutic, benefits. In addition to that, it can be used to help treat chicken pox, relieve cold sores, ease ear aches, and it serves as a remedy for bad breath because it helps to kill bacteria that cause bad breath. And then it can help prevent and treat, it kills head lice. And as I kind of mentioned, it can inhibit the growth of mold. Okay, so that's all we have now. So today I've demonstrated how to make a melt and pour goat milk soap with natural tea tree oil added to it, and also natural dried peppermint leaves. And I just added some natural green food coloring to give it a green color. So I'll be back in a few hours to unmold it and show you all how it looks. Okay, now it's time to unmold the soap. Usually I will unmold it on the following day, but just for the sake of this video, I'm gonna unmold it now so you all can see what it looks like. Turned out really nice. It smells so good. These will probably be just little sample bars that I'll give away. Really nice. Smells so clean. Dry it pretty quickly, harden. So if you're interested in purchasing some soap, check out my website. I have several different kinds of natural soaps with essential oils and botanicals and flowers. So they all turned out really nice. I'm happy with this batch. And you can locate my site by Googling Queen of Excellence Oils. I don't want to unmold this one yet. It still feels kind of soft. So it's going to take more time for that one to harden. But you can see all of these other ones. They turned out lovely. Okay, this is the end of my video. And like I said, if you're interested in buying soap, just Google Queen of Excellence Oils and you can locate my website.